Hey guys, so today I want to talk about how to perfectly bait the blade surges on Melandris in Court of Stars. I know this boss doesn't hit nearly as hard as it used to, but that being said, it's still important to keep the encounter space as clean as possible to make it just that much easier. So I'll be talking about how to bait this as a range person, but then also what you can be doing as a tank to make it just that much cleaner. So let's go ahead and start off. What I'm going to do as the person baiting is I'm going to be telling everyone else in the group, doesn't matter if there's other ranged or a healer that's a ranged person, everyone else needs to be inside the boss within a 7-yard range to make sure that it will always bait to me and to no one else. So they already know that. I've already told them that. I'm also going to mark a spot on the map that I like to bait to, which is right here. I told them that it's X, and I'm basically just going to say that I'm always going to be baiting to red so that everyone is on the same page. So with that being said, that's the setup. So we'll go ahead and get into it. So as this first Blade Surge comes out, it'll always go one Blade Surge, then a Piercing Gale, then another Blade Surge, and then Slicing Maelstrom. So here comes the first Blade Surge, it comes out, and then I can immediately stack back on top, after the Piercing Gale that is, I can immediately stack back on top of that image. It doesn't do anything at all outside of Slicing Maelstrom and Piercing Gale, so you can be directly on top of it. After the second Blade Surge, I move away because now this is where the Slicing Maelstrom's coming out. So I just want to be away from that AoE, but the second that it ends, I need to be running back into it. So don't get too far away because the next Blade Surge comes out super quickly. Okay, and as you'll notice here, it'll be a little bit difficult to see, but as these lines are coming out, you'll see that they go straight through where they're facing, through forward and then out back, and it's the same thing as the boss. So these things will always go straight through their models, so you want them to be on top of each other and then also try to get them to face the same way. But the way that they're facing is really the tank's job. The boss should always be pulled back to the exact same spot within reason, as close as you can, if you want these to be directly on top of each other. Obviously with these little tornado thingies, if they're blocking your way, you can adjust there, but if you want to be completely stacked, you want to keep the boss in the exact same place. You'll notice that this line right here is off to the side. That's from the boss because it always goes from where he's facing to where his back immediately is. So just make sure that you're aware of that as well. Just doing the baits should be enough to keep this really clean because the sides will always be clean if you do that. But just make sure also, if you're one of the people not baiting, that you stay really close to the boss. As you can see here, this the healer got just a little bit too far away, so he baited one over there. But fortunately, as you can see, as he's running, the boss is running this way. We know now that the line is going to be going straight through here, which isn't too far off from these lines going this way. So it's not too bad. It could have been a lot worse if it was going side to side, but fortunately the tank is doing a pretty good job of going back and forth here. But just keep that in mind. We want to be always going back to that same spot. I didn't get there as quickly as I wanted to, but again, as long as we're keeping them somewhat grouped, it will make this so much easier. As you can see, these spots out to the side are very, very clean. The tank is doing a good job right here of keeping it in line with these other ones, so we have all of this extra space. Something else that you can do that I don't have footage of is these little tornado things that stun you will actually be cleared if you get stunned by them. So as long as you're not overlapping with the Blade Surge or the Slicing Maelstrom or the Piercing Gale, you can run into them, get stunned for a second to clear it off if it's getting too close to your stack group. I've done that a couple times. It does get a little dicey if you cut it too close, because I believe it's about 3 seconds, so it's kind of hard to find a good place to do that, but it doesn't do that much damage. It just stuns you for 3 seconds, so that kills your damage a little bit, but it's probably better to do that than to start moving too far away, or if you get too many of these, it's probably worth doing. But that being said, just make sure you're really watching the overlaps of those abilities if you're going to be doing that. So outside of that, we're going to keep it really clean in here. I just want to show you real quick. If we move a little bit further forward towards the end, you'll notice the tank moves off to the side here. I'm not really sure why. The space was still pretty clean, and you'll see what happens if you do that on the next Surge cast. Because some of these are going to be facing this way and some of them are facing the other way. So it can just be a little bit, let me just pull it back right here. So here comes this gale out. So some of them are still facing this way, which is why the lines are going this way, and then some are facing this way because he repositioned. Again, it still doesn't look that bad, but if you can, as a tank, try to always keep it in that same spot. I'm not 100% sure. I think Paladins and maybe Hunters can clean some of these out. It's not a magic debuff, I don't think, so I don't think Rogues can get rid of it. I'm not 100% sure if that... I'm sure that the Paladin can clear it without getting stunned. I'm not 100% on the on Hunters, but That being said, it's not too big of a deal. You can move it. The biggest thing is making sure that you're stacking as the person baiting off to the side so that the X pattern where they're facing, if you have different directions, that X mark is in the middle near the wall. So you're not having this X like out here where it's going all over the place. This way you just have like a V shape that you're having to deal with. So it's much less of an issue. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you get a little bit bigger, a little bit better sense of how this should work. You can see these things like really getting grouped up on me here, so I kind of start moving off to the side, but fortunately we kill it here. But hopefully that gives you a little bit better sense of what that should look like. So hopefully that was helpful. Make sure you're baiting, make sure you're communicating with your group. It doesn't take too many words. I know that some people talk about communicating in pugs being super difficult, but this specifically is really easy. Everyone stay in melee. I'm going to be baiting everything. That's all you really need to say, and then mark a spot where you're going to be standing. All right, guys, so I hope that was helpful. If it was, please give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, just let me know if there's anything else you want to see in the future. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.